Welcome to All Theory, No Conspiracy. Don't forget to like, subscribe, click to receive notifications, and leave a comment. This video is all about the strange circumstances surrounding the death of musician Bobby Fuller, who had a big hit with the song I Fought the Law. His death was ruled as self-induced, but certain details seem to tell a different version of the how and why. Let's rewind to an earlier time. Bobby Fuller was born in Baytown, Texas on October 22, 1942. He was the middle of three boys with an older half-brother Jack and a younger brother Randy, who later played bass guitar in the Bobby Fuller Four. Fuller's family moved to Salt Lake City, Utah when he was a child, and they lived there until 1956. When they relocated to El Paso, Texas. Bobby began his music career there as a teen, and at the time he was heavily influenced by Buddy Holly. In the early 60s, Fuller played in clubs in El Paso and recorded some independent songs on local labels. Most of these independent releases were recorded in his own home studio, with Fuller acting as the producer. Bobby also built an echo chamber in the Fuller's backyard. The quality of the recordings he made, using just microphones and an old mixing board, were of great quality, and he offered the use of his home studio to local bands for free, so he could work on his production skills. Fuller also ran his own nightclub called Bobby Fuller's Teen Rendezvous, booked shows for himself and other bands, and looked to create his own record label. He soon felt that he had outgrown the local scene and looked to broaden his musical horizons. Fuller moved to Los Angeles in 1965 with his band, The Fanatics, and was signed to Mustang Records by producer Bob Keane. Keane was notable for discovering Ritchie Valens, who had a big hit with La Bamba, and had died in a plane crash with Buddy Holly and the Big Bopper in 1959. In what became known as the day the music died. Keane had also produced many of the surf music groups who were popular at the time, and also produced the late Sam Cooke, Frank Zappa, and Barry White. More on Cooke later in the video. After signing with Keane's label, the band was renamed the Bobby Fuller Four. Fuller was glad to be signed to a music contract, but he was taken aback by the way the music business operated at that level, and was leery of some of the people Keane was associated with. The Bobby Fuller Four recorded and released 3 songs that all made the top 40. Let Her Dance, which was written by Fuller, I Fought the Law, which was written and released by the Crickets, Buddy Holly's former band, and a cover of Buddy Holly's Love's Made a Fool of You. On July 18, 1966, Fuller and 2 potential new bandmates were set to meet at the apartment he shared with his mother. When the 2 musicians arrived, Bobby received a phone call from a girl named Melody, and then left to go and meet her. While the men waited at the apartment, Bobby's mother kept an occasional eye on the parking lot to be able to see when Bobby had returned. When she noticed that the car appeared in the parking lot and Bobby did not come up to the apartment, she went down to see what he was doing. When Mrs. Fuller looked in the car, she found Bobby dead in the front seat. There was dried blood around his chin and mouth. He had petechial hemorrhages on his skin. His clothes and hair were messed up and soaked with gasoline, and his right hand was clutching a rubber tube used for siphoning gas. The LA Deputy Medical Examiner, Jerry Nelson, who performed the autopsy, noted that Fuller had died from swallowing half a gallon of gasoline. But even though the car was only in the parking lot for 30 minutes before Fuller was found, he had developed rigor mortis. The time frame does not match up, and the death certificate had question marks next to accident and self-induced. Fuller was the third artist to work for Bob Keane that died under strange circumstances, after Ritchie Valens in 1959 and Sam Cooke in 1964. There were other similarities between Cooke's and Fuller's deaths. The last place both men were seen alive was a mob-run nightclub in Los Angeles called PJ's. It was later alleged that Fuller was angling to get out of his contract with Keane, and that just prior to his death, Keane had taken out a life insurance policy on him. Fuller seems to have had no reason to take his own life, and if he did, it seems strange to do it by drinking gasoline. Some things just don't add up here. There are links to a documentary called The Death Clause by Barely Sociable, which features an in-depth look at Fuller's death, Bobby Fuller's death certificate, and an informative article about Fuller's life and death in the description below this video. The end? Stay tuned for more content from All Theory, No Conspiracy. Thank you for watching.